Part 11. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 101. Although it's a bit presumptuous, I seem to have heard you worrying about hiring a lawyer just now. I got up slowly, the hem of the cheongsam swayed with beautiful waves, and her steps were radiant. Maybe you might as well contact Ming Jun's office? They will satisfy you, I said with a smile. For someone who is meeting for the first time, it is really abrupt to make such a suggestion. But I is very beautiful, especially her temperament is elegant and refined. A beautiful person can always be easily forgiven. Zhang Huan only thought of the little girl as young and warm-hearted, so he didn't take it to heart. What do children know about lawsuits? He is a gentleman and will not embarrass others. He nodded politely immediately, thank you. Zhenning was a little embarrassed, and explained, Zizi, Mr. Zhang has already found many law firms, and Rong'an is the number one in the industry. If there is no accident, we will let the lawyers of Rong'an take over this case. And Chiao will also help. The implication is that I don't know the so-called Ming Jun office, so don't mention it anymore, it's just a joke. I didn't look at Zhenning, she looked at Zhang Huan calmly, and seeing the cold eyes in the other party, she knew that Zhang Huan didn't take her words to heart. Although I did have her own purpose, but she really wanted to help Zhang Huan. When Zhang Hong saw her just now, there was a moment of amazement in his eyes, but it was only showing appreciation, without the slightest blatant profanity, which shows that this person is not a lustful person. She believed that Zhang Huan did not do anything against the students, and she hoped that Zhang Huan would be treated fairly in the judicial decision. Zhang Huan bid farewell to Zhenning, when Ms. Jiao comes back, call me to let me know. I'm sorry to bother you today. I took 2 steps forward and said, Mr. Zhang, with all due respect, the anti-bullying law has just been promulgated, and all cases involving the interests of minors are being closely grasped in the courtyard. Qiao Jingjia has just been promoted, your case is a big trouble for her, she will not help you with all her heart, she will only focus on coordination, and advise you to take money and settle the matter. The girl looked solemn and calm, and her tone was decisive, as if she was very experienced in handling such incidents. If someone else said these words, Zhang Huan might have believed them, but a 16-year-old girl, Zhang Huan couldn't help but find it funny. Zhenning was afraid that Zhang Huan would really believe Zi, so he said with a dark face, Zi, don't mess around, Aunt Chiao is a prosecutor, she will give the best solution, don't slander Chiao for recommending other lawyers. And after he finished speaking, he explained to Zhang Huan in a low voice, Zizi will enroll in Ge Rui in September, don't you mind? Zhang Huan was teaching at Gray, and Zhenning alluded to Zi's outrageous words and deeds to please Zhang Huan. This is not surprising, anyone would probably think so. After all, no one would trust a little girl. I felt that it was a pity that she should find another opportunity. Now that Zhenning interrupted her like this, it would be very difficult to get things done. Zhang Huan was not a narrow-minded person, he just nodded his head lightly when he heard the words, and said, children, it is inevitable that you are a little competitive. I sighed, Mr. Zhang, no lawyer is willing to take over your case. It must be because the winning rate is extremely small, so people around you will advocate you to mediate. But once you choose to mediate, the world will only think that you are guilty and ashamed of the other party. Your reputation will be ruined, and your parents will also be implicated. This case must not be mediated, and you must go to court to accept the legal decision. Zhenning, this younger sister of yours knows a lot and is very clever. Zhang Huan smiled lightly and praised Zi a few words. He said that Zi was smart, not smart, and he obviously thought that Zi was looking for an opportunity to express himself. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 102. For this case, Zhang Huan traveled too many places and consulted too many lawyers. Even the gold medal lawyers in the law firm had to think twice, and Mu Zi, who didn't even know the details of the case, dared to speak nonsense in front of him. Apart from wanting to ask for credit, Zhang Huan couldn't think of any other reason. He felt that Mu Zi was too frivolous. Mu Zenning's tone was severe. Zizi, if this kind of violent case goes to court, if you lose the case, your reputation will be seriously affected. Mr. Zhang is still teaching at Gray, and he is likely to be expelled from school or even admitted to school because of this incident. Prison. You are still young, don't get involved in these things. He hoped that Mu Zi could understand that going to court is no child's play. I know, that's why I suggested Mr. Zhang to use Mingjun law firm. If you want to win this case, you need to find another breakthrough. Mediation alone is useless. Mu Zi's expression was indifferent, and his eyes were as calm as water. The lawyers in the law firm are great, but they may not be the most suitable for you. What she said was well-founded and logical. A trace of impatience flashed in Zhang Huan's eyes, and he responded, I have written down Miss Mu's suggestion, and I will contact the law firm someday, thank you. After that, he didn't say anything more, and left with Mu Zenning. Mu Zi looked at the backs of the two walking away, and she knew in her heart like a mirror that Zhang Huan would never contact Mingjun law firm recommended by her. If he was really interested, he would at least ask for the contact information, but Zhang Huan simply thanked him and left. He is perfunctory her. It's a pity. She originally wanted to make friends with the Zhang family. In this way, when she went to Gray in the future, she could have some connections when applying for a place. After all, Zhang Huan taught in Gray, and as far as she knew, Zhang Huan's mother was not only a famous professor, but also a famous professor. One of Gray's council members, very prestigious. But she thought about it again, when the Zhang family hit a wall, then her helping hand would be more meaningful. It's okay, she's patient. Mu Zi continued to fiddle with her camera. In the garden, the birds were singing and the flowers were fragrant. She took some landscape photos alone to entertain herself. While shooting, a man's figure unexpectedly appeared in the viewfinder. It was Mu Zenning again. How did he turn back? Mu Zi put down the camera, raised her eyebrows, and looked at the man approaching with some surprise. Zizi, I think we need to talk alone. Mu Zenning frowned, standing in front of her with a cold face. What does the third brother want to talk to me about? Mu Zi asked lightly, and glanced at a clump of green bamboo forest not far away. Perhaps there was a wind blowing, and the green bamboo branches and leaves trembled and rustled. You were too reckless just now, Mu Zenning scolded her. Fortunately, Zhang Huan doesn't like to argue with others, otherwise you will offend others. Mu Zi listened with a blank expression, and asked, is the third brother finished? If I finish, I will leave. Mu Zenning's expression froze, and his face became even uglier. She ignored his words. Mu Zi really didn't want to talk to him, so she left sideways holding the camera. Who knows if there is surveillance in this place? What if that pervert Murong Cheng sees it again? Just because she said a few innocuous words to Mu Zenning, she was pushed to the bed in the middle of the night to collect debts. She really didn't want to experience that kind of stimulation and fright again. Mu Zenning came back to his senses, as if wanting to stop her from leaving. He reached out and grabbed Mu Zi's wrist. Zizi. Don't touch me, Mu Zi shouted suddenly. She reacted extremely, and broke free from Mu Zenning's shackles, so vigorously that she almost threw her own camera away. Mu Zenning looked at her in extreme surprise, unable to speak for a long time. Both of them are quiet. The scene was embarrassing. Mu Zi adjusted her breathing slightly. She didn't expect that Mu Zenning would suddenly grab her hand, and she didn't expect that she would have such a big reaction. Mu Zenning's hand has hugged other women, touched a woman's body, maybe even touched some private areas. Musisi thought of this, and felt that the pores all over her body were screaming dirty. She wants to go clean right now? Zizi Musening stopped her again. When did I offend you? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 103. I stood still and did not answer for a while. Such a question, in her opinion, is both ironic and ridiculous. What do you think, third brother? I asked in a cold voice without turning around. She was wearing a cheongsam, her back was graceful and charming, but her words were as sharp as ice picks. I was pushed into the lake by Muling and nearly drowned. You want me to calm down? I want to go to Gray to study. You persuaded me to go to an ordinary school. Now I have to plan for myself and want to help Mr. Zhang. You come out again obstruction I smiled coldly, third brother, I also really want to ask you, have I offended you? Musening's face changed slightly. Do you remember hating me because of Muling? He suddenly realized, and couldn't help saying, that's why you insist on that pink Hummer. It's good that Musening didn't mention that car, but when it was mentioned, I panicked even more. Her car was wrecked. All ruined. You clearly know that it is your third sister-in-law's car. She loved that Hummer the most during her lifetime. Even if she didn't drive it a few times a month, she would take it for cleaning and maintenance. Just to get angry, you blackmailed Muling with the recording. Zizi, you too willful. Musening's chatter was as annoying as flies to I's ears. Sister-in-law 3 will only thank me. I couldn't bear it anymore. She turned around and interrupted Musening. It's better to give it to my sister-in-law than to be driven by another woman, isn't it? Musening's face turned pale, and he tried to explain. Xiao Jingjia is your third sister-in-law's most powerful assistant and her best friend. She would occasionally lend Xiao Jingjia a car to drive her during her lifetime. It was precisely because Xiao Jingjia showed that she was very close to Suzy, so when she asked to borrow a car, Musening agreed without even thinking about it. Who told you? Did Xiao Jingjia say it herself? I couldn't bear it. Suzy's most capable assistant is called Yu Yang, and her best friend is called Zhang Ci. What is she, Xiao Jingjia? In terms of ability, she is an intern for 3 years. In terms of academic qualifications, she is only a second-rate university graduate, and in terms of character, she hooks up with other people's husbands to be a mistress. She is useless at all, so why should she be friends with the best prosecutor in Xinjiang City? I was about to scold shameless. Musening stared at her blankly, his face turning blue and white. Perhaps because of shame, perhaps because of shock, he didn't make a sound for a long time. I sighed, shook her head and muttered to herself, what do I tell you these things, I'm so stupid. She was irritated by Musening and lost control for a while. In fact, just seeing Musening's face made her feel so annoyed that she couldn't hold her breath. She should be calm. Calm down and look for clues, instead of doing meaningless resentment and scolding here. How did you know? How did you know about Suzy? After a long silence, Musening made a low voice, and his black eyes shone with a strange light. I felt irritated. It's not a secret, anyone who wants to find out. Then he raised his head and said indifferently, Musening, let me tell you clearly that I hate you and look down on you, so don't talk to me again in the future. Musening pursed his lips and looked at her for a moment, his eyes full of surprise. I didn't look at him. She lowered her head and rubbed the wrist that was held just now. Her brows were furrowed, showing annoyance. Don't touch me again, I think it's dirty. She took the camera and left, ignoring the man behind her. Mu Zhening's face was flushed with embarrassment. He stood there for a while, and then hurried away with a bit of embarrassment. The bamboo forest trembled slightly, its branches and leaves shaking. After the heavy green shadows, a white dress fluttered gracefully in the breeze, and then disappeared. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 104. On the way back, Mu Zi met Bai Wei, who had changed her clothes. When Bai Wei was far away, she saw Mu Zi and Mu Zhening talking, and seeing her come back with a sullen expression, she couldn't help asking. There is nothing to hide, Mu Zi told the truth. She said that she recommended a law firm to Zhang Huan, but the other party looked down upon her, and Mu Zhening didn't trust her either, so after seeing off the client, he turned back to criticize her. Zhang Huan is Gray's teacher, I just want to impress him, but third brother thinks I'm making trouble. Mu Zi attributed his anger to this. Forget it, I'm being treated like a donkey for my good intentions. Bai Wei comforted her, doing good deeds and forming a good relationship is also about a chance. You have done your best, so don't care too much about other people's opinions. Mu Zi couldn't help laughing. Mom, don't you think I'm making trouble? They all think that I don't know the heights of heaven and earth at such a young age. Bai Wei shook her head, and replied sincerely, my Zizi is kind-hearted. She sees other people's difficulties, and you happen to have an idea, and you are willing to tell the other party selflessly. Even if others don't believe it, having this kind of heart is enough. Mu Zi felt warm in her heart. In fact, she had already told Bai Wei that she wanted to sell favors to the Zhang family, but Bai Wei still thought she was good. In the past, the nature of her work required fairness and justice, so she was very repulsed by such people who were outrageously biased, but now that she really met her, she felt so warm and heartwarming. Mu Zi smiled and said, Mom, you are my mother, no matter what I do, you feel good about it. Of course my Zizi is the best. Bai Wei patted Muse's hand lightly, and comforted her, many people and things in this world have a cause and effect. If you want to help, maybe this cause and effect is missing. Zizi, it's not that you are bad, it's that those people are unlucky, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Mu Zi was moved in her heart, she couldn't help hugging Bai Wei's arm and rubbing it. She said coquettishly, Mom, you are so kind, you love me the most. My daughter, of course I hurt the most. Bai Wei also smiled. When Mu Zi heard the words, besides being moved, there was also some sadness in his heart. It's a pity that these loves are not real. What Bai Wei loves is the girl who gave up her life early, not her. In this world, who else would really love her? In the piano room of the Mu family, the melodious sound of the piano echoed endlessly. Because of the slap marks on his face and the unhealed scars on his lips, Mu Ling is ashamed to see others. In the past few days, all the invitations from classmates and friends have been rejected. Apart from doing homework every day, he just practiced the piano in silence. After she finished practicing a song, she glanced at Mu Yun in the piano room, and was startled. Sister. When did you come in? Mu Ling patted his chest and inhaled. Mu Yun ignored her, and stood quietly by the floor-to-ceiling window with a glass of water, looking at the scenery outside, as if thinking about something. Mu Ling felt weird, and called her again, Sister. Only then did Mu Yun turn around. She held the water glass, took a sip gracefully, and asked, Xiao Ling, last time Mu Zi got you beaten, do you want to deal with her? Mu Ling's eyes lit up when he heard the words, but the light quickly dimmed. Father warned me. Mu Ling bit her lips in frustration and resentment, and said, he forbids me to trouble Mu Zi again. Mu Rongxian warned Mu Ling not to make trouble, of course not to protect Mu Zi, but because he was too disappointed with his daughter. 2 million was like a stab in his heart, he didn't want to pay for Mu Ling's mistakes anymore. Mu Yun slightly curled her lips, with a sneer on the corner of her mouth, Father won't blame you, because this time, it was Muzi who bumped into the knife edge. We only need to push her lightly, and she will be dripping with blood. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 105. Ling looked at Yun confusedly. Sister, I don't understand. Yun then told her sister what she heard in the garden. She takes herself too seriously. She recommends the law firm to Mr. Zhang in such a big way. She doesn't know what it means. Yun smiled coldly. After hearing the cause and effect, Ling was still ignorant. Why did Muzi do this? Isn't this clearly offending Teacher Zhang? Teacher Jiang's mother is a member of the school council, so maybe she won't be allowed to enroll. Thinking that Muzi might be rejected by Gray, Ling gloated and laughed. It's your own fault. You don't even care how much you weigh, but you still want to study in Gray. Yun reminded her, such a reason is not enough to reject freshmen. Ling felt it was a pity when he heard the words, and then comforted himself. If you offend the school director, even if you enroll, life must be difficult, right? She wants to go to school, but I'm afraid it's still early. Yun shook the water in the glass unhurriedly, with a demeanor like a noble princess, but viciousness appeared in her slightly raised phoenix eyes, making her beauty appear sinister. Yun said, we want to add fuel to her. Didn't she recommend the law firm? We asked the Zhang family to contact that law firm. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. When the lawsuit is lost, the Zhang family will be discredited. All the crimes are Muzi's. The Zhang family will never let her go. But what if you win? Ling was worried. If you win, wouldn't it make Muzi prestige? Yun glanced at her and sneered, what do you know? No one dares to touch the Zhang family's case now. Even my father dare not recommend a lawyer easily, for fear that the Zhang family will be angry if the lawsuit is lost. This kind of matter is related to reputation. The case, and the other party has decisive evidence, there is no chance of winning in court. As she spoke, she laughed again. Muzi helped Dad solve a troublesome matter. But, if we do this, will we harm Teacher Zhang? Ling was a little soft-hearted. Zhang Huan was handsome and gentle, and was very popular with female students in school. He can't stand up anymore, but he is a good teacher but rapes his students. No matter which lawyer he finds, he will go to jail. Yun's tone was extremely disdainful. Ling felt that Teacher Zhang, whom she admired, could not do such a thing, but after much deliberation, she felt that it was more important to punish Muzi. Since Mr. Zhang was destined to have such a catastrophe, it would be a merit to deal with that hateful Muzi by the way, right? Ling thought so. What should we do? Ling asked her sister. Aren't you in the same class as Zhang Huan's younger sister? Call her and tell her that because Muzi recommended other law firms, the lawyer that Dad helped Zhang Huan find doesn't want to bother the two masters, so he doesn't want to take over the case. Ling's eyes suddenly lit up with excitement. In this way, not only can the Zhang family hate Muzi, but also get his father out. Originally, my father was worried that the lawyer he introduced would not win the lawsuit and would be angered by the Zhang family, but the Zhang family and the Mu family are family friends, so it is not easy for my father to stand idly by. But now, because of Muzi, everything is settled. Sister, you are amazing, Ling praised sincerely. A small trick can save Muzi forever. The Zhang family will definitely hate Muzi. Given the prestige of the Zhang family in the education field, not only would Muzi not be allowed to enroll in Gray, even other schools would not accept Muzi either. Muzi dropped out of junior high school early. If she can't continue her studies, what will she do in the future? Her life is over. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HhandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 106. Full of excitement, Mu Ling asked, "Sister, when should I call?" After asking, she felt a little uneasy again, "But I don't know Zhang Xinyuan very well, she is very arrogant, if I call her suddenly, will she believe it?" "Call tomorrow." Mu Yun was full of ambition, looking confident. "Tomorrow my third uncle will take Aunt Jiao to Jiang's house. Jiang's family has received our family's favor. If we call again, they will pay more attention to it." "Well, good." Mu Ling nodded. When she thinks of tomorrow's good show, she is overjoyed, as if the depression and grievances of this period of time have also been swept away. "However, sister, do you find it strange?" Mu Ling's heart moved, and he said to Mu Yun in bewilderment, "Since Musa was discharged from the hospital, she seems to be a different person. I used to scold her and beat her, but she kept saying nothing. She didn't even dare to make a sound, but look, she now..." As Mu Ling spoke, his face became ugly, and his voice lowered, "And the last time she fell into the water, it didn't take long before she suddenly lost her breath, even her pulse. Come here, like a corpse." Mu Yun nodded thoughtfully. "She is indeed a bit weird. Could it be that she hid an evil? Could she not be a human?" Mu Ling was terrified when she thought about it, with fear on her face. Mu Yun glanced at her lightly. "Don't scare yourself by yourself. But, this Mu Zi is indeed a bit evil." Mu Yun couldn't think of a clue. The luxurious Huake entertainment city, brightly lit, is full of wine, beauties, and high-stakes gambling, which makes the lost people reverse the day and night, and forget the time. Du Hao rushed over, holding a delicate bamboo basket in his arms. The basket is only as big as a soup bowl, with a lid so you can't tell what's inside, and the handle is tied with red silk on both sides, which is very auspicious. About a quarter of an hour later, this ancient and festive basket was placed on Murong Cheng's table. Wang Zhan washed his hands deliberately, put on a pair of white gloves, and opened the lid of the basket with a respectful and serious expression. After seeing the contents clearly, the expression on Wang Zhan's face cracked a bit. "This is the three-eyed crow." The corners of Wang Zhan's mouth twitched, with the urge to smear his face with shit. "What the hell is this three-eyed god and crow worth 8 million? There was a fleshy chick in the basket. The little thing had its eyes closed tightly, its head was bald, and there were few hairs on its body. It was obvious that it had just hatched. No matter how you look at it, you can't see the temperament of the divine crow. On the contrary, it looks like a broiler." On the other hand, Du Hao looked forward to it, looked at the god crow with admiration, and said, "It's past their breeding season, and it's really not easy to find this nest. This chick is the strongest in the nest. As long as you raise it well, you will definitely become an excellent guardian pet in the future. This. Wang Zhan looked at the bald bird, then at Murong Cheng. "Master, this bird. Didn't this bird really come from a pheasant nest?" Murong Cheng stared at the chick that was waiting to be fed, and tentatively stretched out his hand. "Master, wrong, be careful," Du Hao reminded in a low voice. "This bird hasn't recognized its owner yet. Once the crow recognizes its master, it will be the only one in its life and will not change again." Murong Cheng withdrew his hand, his eyes still fixed on the baby bird. "As long as this bird is brought up," Murong Cheng slowly said thoughtfully, "the soul will not leave the body easily. Will she really come back to life?" "Yes, the phenomenon of the soul leaving the body is called scary, especially when encountering a situation similar to death. Scary is most likely to occur." Du Hao nodded and replied, "With this three-eyed crow, short-term 3 years, or 6 years at most, the resurrected soul will be no different from the living. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again." Author, HhandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 107. 3 years. 3 years later, Muzi I should be 19 years old. Murong Cheng thought silently, at this age, he can get married. Although his patience is running out, if he waits for 3 years with some expectation, it seems to be good. Murong Cheng quietly looked at the baby bird in the basket, with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. The baby bird seemed to sense something, and suddenly opened its beak, making a loud and ear-piercing cry. Wang Zhan was taken aback and immediately shivered. But Murong Cheng really laughed, the gloom between his brows dissipated, his smile was wicked and wild, his handsome face seemed to be able to force back the prosperity of the world. Wang Zhan and Du Hao left Murong Cheng's office together. Thinking of Murong Cheng smiling so heartily just now, Wang Zhan felt a little tight in his chest. He squinted at Du Hao, and said in a strange way, "Mr. Du has a good trick, a bird has coaxed our master wrong, I don't know what product he plans to sell next time." Du Hao smiled, but he didn't see any anger, and said with a smile, "Steward Xiao Wang seems to be a bit hostile recently." Wang Zhan sneered, "Can you not be heavy? Those old people heard that Yingzui Bei has good feng shui, and they all tried their best to grab them. I don't know how many killer corpses I have to deal with every day. Not only are they violent, it's also very unlucky. I don't have any preparations today." Xiao Wangguan took this little thing to play with in advance. Du Hao took out an ancient copper coin from his trouser pocket, handed it to Wang Zhan, and smiled kindly, "When you are free, you might as well go to my walk around there, there's always something you can use." Wang Zhan raised his eyebrows and held the copper coin in his hand, looked at it, but didn't see any tricks. Du Hao bowed his hands to say goodbye, and left first. "God stick," Wang Zhan snorted disdainfully, "treat me as a customer for sales." "But..." Wang Zhan threw up the copper coin, and then caught it. "I thought to myself, this copper coin should not be for nothing, anyway, it will not get in the way if you carry it with you, so it is better to keep it with you just in case." The next day, Bai Wei took Muzi out for morning tea. It is said that Dai Yulu has recruited a new chef who specializes in Cantonese cuisine, and the tea is a must. Muzi felt fresh, thinking that staying at home was boring, and there was no news about Zhang Huan's case for the time being, so she went with Bai Wei. In the past, she ate breakfast for convenience. When she passed by a convenience store, she bought a piece of bread or a sandwich. She had never gone out for morning tea in such a serious manner. When we arrived at Daiyu building, it was only 8 or 9 o'clock, and the lobby on the first floor was already full of people, which shows how many people came here admiringly. They had booked a seat in advance, and the waiter led them to the box on the second floor. When going upstairs, Bai Wei told Muzi "Actually, the place on the first floor is the best place to have morning tea." When morning tea first started, it was a tea house where you can rest your feet and talk. Drinking tea while listening to the chat in the market is the most atmospheric place. After finishing speaking, he sighed softly and said, "It's not fashionable for people nowadays, young people like private rooms." Muzi smiled narrowly, "Mom, it's only now that I'm convinced that you are indeed almost 50. Bai Wei smiled and poked her forehead lightly. The boxes in Daiyu Tower are semi-closed, and the doors are made of hollowed-out and carved wooden walls, with glass bead curtains. Through the bead curtain, Muzi saw that there were already people sitting in their box. She couldn't help showing surprise. When he got closer, he realized that the man was Murong Cheng. Her eyes widened suddenly, and she blurted out, "Why is he here?" Bai Wei took it for granted, "I asked your brother to book a seat for us." While talking, she couldn't help complaining, "Nowadays online reservations are fashionable, and SMS verification is required, and what scan code is required? I really can't get it, so I asked your brother to help me order it." There was a slight smile on the corner of the man's mouth. He was wearing a casual suit. His posture was lazy yet elegant. In Muzi's mind, only the words "clothed beast" popped out. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, Hua Liao. Chapter 108. When Bai Wei was concentrating on ordering food, Murong Chen moved closer to Mu Ziyi and whispered in her ear, "You are so beautiful today." Mu Ziyi's face flushed instantly. She was ashamed, angry, and unhappy. Because Murong Chen hooked her legs under the table. Mu Ziyi bit her lower lip tightly, and glared at Murong Chen with her clear and bright eyes. Her words seemed to burst out from between her teeth, "Don't go too far." Murong Chen smiled, retracted her leg, and replaced it with a generous and powerful palm gently covering the back of her hand. "It's really beautiful," he praised her in a low voice again, "I like it very much." Today she and Bai Wei both wore cheongsams made by Master Lu Zhang. And the cheongsam she wore was particularly elegant. The background color of smoky water blue is full of blooming green lotus, which is very graceful, fully showing the youthfulness and purity of the girl. Murong Chen likes her, so naturally he likes her no matter how you look at it, not to mention that this cheongsam was originally made by him, which is equivalent to his gift, and now wearing it on Mu Ziyi, it seems that Mu Ziyi has his mark on her body. Will only like it more. Mu Ziyi tried to withdraw her hand, struggled twice, but was forced to intertwine with his fingers instead. She was so angry that she wanted to lift the table. "Will 2 cages of crystal shrimp dumplings be enough?" Bai Wei looked up at them and asked for advice. Last time, Zizi was allergic after eating salt and pepper shrimp. "I wonder if crystal shrimp dumplings can be eaten." Mu Ziyi forced a smile on her face, "I'm fine." "Let's get a basket first." Bai Wei lowered her head to look at the menu again. "I want another basket of pumpkin fruit and a layer of scallion pancake." Mu Ziyi tugged her hand hard, gritted her teeth and said, "Murong Chen, can you show some face?" Murong Chen couldn't help laughing, "It's just holding hands, is it shameless? I've touched and kissed you all over your body, so what?" Mu Ziyi's face turned pale, and she felt that she had encountered a plague god, and her life would be darkened from now on. Murong Chen gently scratched her palm, coaxing her in a low voice, "Don't be angry, I have a gift for you." Even if there was a gift, Mu Ziyi couldn't be happy because she knew that she had no right to refuse Murong Chen's gift. Bai Wei here has already ordered some refreshments, and when she looked up and saw the 2 siblings whispering, she couldn't help laughing and said, "Why are you talking in private? Is there any secret you can't tell Mom?" Murong Chen held Mu Ziyi's hand under the table, and replied with a calm expression on his face, "School will start in a few days, I prepared a gift for Ziyi. Mu Ziyi bowed her head in silence, as if she had nothing to do with her. On the contrary, Bai Wei was more looking forward to it than Mu Ziyi, and asked with sparkling eyes, "What gift is it?" Murong Chen took out a gift box. "Open it, and there is a mobile phone inside." Mu Ziyi wanted to roll her eyes, but it was a mobile phone again, it was really nothing new. Is he addicted to invasion of privacy? Mu Ziyi sneered in her heart. "Thank you, brother," Mu Ziyi replied with a straight face. She reached out to pick up the phone, and inadvertently, a business card fell from under the phone. Mu Ziyi didn't pay attention at first, but she glanced and found that her name was written on the business card. Mu Ziyi, Chairman. What? Dong, Chairman. Mu Ziyi picked up the business card and read it carefully. Mingfen Information Consulting Co., Limited, Chairman, Mu Ziyi. She raised her head and looked at Murong Chen in a daze. Murong Chen rubbed her head, and said in a low voice, "After school, don't put too much pressure on yourself, you are no worse than anyone else, education is just the icing on the cake, even if you don't want to study someday, you can always be a domineering female president." His thin lips were slightly raised, and he smiled softly, "My brother said that he will love you." Mu Ziyi was dumbfounded. She didn't expect that Murong Chen's gift was a company. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 109. For music, this gift is too heavy. Bai Wei was also frightened by Murong Cheng's generosity, and stayed silent for a while. After a long time, Bai Wei murmured anxiously, "Rong Cheng, Zi is only 16 years old, you let her take care of the company, will it delay her study?" Mu Zi was in a mess all of a sudden. Isn't this the focus of attention? The point is that your son sent a company. A company. It is not a problem that affects learning. Is it really okay to spoil a child like this? Murong Cheng said lightly, Grey International School is an elite education. Although the students in it are only in their teens, most of them have been exposed to finance since childhood. In order for the children to take over their own business naturally, the parents let them manage small companies first. Familiar with the business process, these are the basic homework. Bai Wei believed it immediately, and nodded in praise, since they all have them, then our Zizi must also have a company, and she can't be short for no reason at the beginning of school. Mu Zi was speechless for a moment. She knew that the situation Murong Cheng said did exist, but in fact, the rich were also divided into 3 or 6 grades, and those who directly smashed 1 or 2 companies to let their children experience definitely belonged to the upper class of the rich. As for the Mu family, after the death of Mr. Mu, things went from bad to worse, and they were not able to set foot in that class. At least, Mu Yun and Mu Ling definitely don't have such generous treatment. Murong Cheng said, "Look at those wealthy daughters living a life of luxury, but they are actually walking corpses. Once the family loses power, they will fall from the clouds, which is extremely embarrassing. This company is for you. Let you experience it. When you grow up, you will have enough confidence. No matter whether the Mu family is prosperous or declining, you don't have to look at anyone's face. Those pianos, vocal music, and flower arrangements are all things to please people. If you like, just learn casually. If you are not interested, you don't need to waste time on those things, just do whatever you want. This kind of growth is meaningful." He picked up the business card, put it on the phone, and pushed it in front of Mu Zi. "From today on, you are the president of Mingfeng Company." Mu Zi's heart seemed to be shaken, and her eyes also unconsciously showed confusion. Murong Cheng is indeed, as he said, loving her with all his heart. Although he was domineering and unreasonable, he was sincere to her. Bai Wei said happily, "Our family's Zizi is really powerful. She became the president at the age of 16. It's not easy to start a company. Mom pays for the employees' wages for you. The profit model of this company is mature, so don't worry, Mom," Murong Cheng said. Bai Wei praised him again. Rong Cheng did a good job and was very careful. Mu Zi faintly felt that something was wrong. She came back slowly. Murong Cheng worked for the wealthy Huo family, not to mention the other businesses of the Huo group. The casino alone was making money every day. This gift may be amazing to her, but to others, buying a company is as simple as losing a nose hair. So what the hell is she moving? Touched nose hair? What is the difference between this kind of moving and the superficiality dazzled by diamonds? They were all bought by money. Mu Zi closed her eyes and gritted her teeth secretly. She felt that her brain must have been flooded, and she believed Murong Cheng's rhetoric. To think that Murong Cheng loves her. He also talked to her about the meaning of growing up. What the hell? If she didn't die, she would be the same age as him. Does she need a hooligan to guide her growth path? Mu Zi was extremely upset, trembling with anger. She was ashamed of her momentary bewilderment. Blessed to have each other in this life, Mu Shao, your wife is born again. Author, HandsomeMaleLead. Chapter 110. Exquisite refreshments are presented on the table one by one, with exquisite presentation, both color and fragrance. Bai Wei chatted with Murong Cheng about the company. After all, she is a mother. Seeing that her son is going to start a business and buy a company for his sister, Bai Wei is worried that Murong Cheng will be short of money, and once again expresses that she has some savings over the years, so she can help out a little. Mu Zi ate with her head depressed and did not participate in the discussion. However, she really admired Bai Wei's courage. She dared to say that she had savings in front of Murong Cheng, a big benefactor, and this was not the first time she said it. It's also fortunate that Murong Cheng isn't really a rich man, otherwise, Bai Wei's savings would be wiped out by him. Bai Wei asked with concern, Information company, what exactly does it do? It's an emerging industry. It helps customers collect information, identify the authenticity of information, and conduct data investigations. The company has its own investigators. Although the current scale is small, its profitability is good, Murong Cheng replied. Mu Zi knew that this kind of company was somewhat similar in nature to a private detective firm, but because of the collection and research of more big data, it felt more sophisticated. Although she complained a lot about Murong Cheng, she had to say that this great gift came very timely. She was planning to find a private investigator when Murong Cheng sent the investigator. It was like falling asleep and meeting a pillow. She couldn't ask for more. Bai Wei asked again, is the company usually very busy? Do you work overtime frequently? Do you need to travel? Murong Cheng's expression showed a little helplessness. Mom, Zizi is the CEO, and there will be secretaries and department managers under her. She only needs to make the final decision. Bai Wei felt relieved, and said with a smile, after the time when school starts, Zizi and I will go to the company to have a look. Murong Cheng smiled, patted Mu Zi's head next to him, and said in a doting tone, after you've been busy for a while, you can go to get a driver's license test, and then my brother will send you a car. Like a brother who loves his sister. Mu Zi was very annoying to Murong Cheng, but she didn't want to disappoint Bai Wei, so she forced a smile on her face. The family seemed to be in harmony. At this time, another guest came up from downstairs. The woman said, dissatisfied with the waiter, isn't there an empty box here? Why do we have to sit downstairs in the lobby? The voice was so familiar that all three members of the family looked over. It was Mu Zening and Xiao Jingjia. They even came here for morning tea. About the same as Bai Wei, she came here for fame. The men are in suits and leather shoes, and the women are in enchanting chong sams. They are dressed up for a trip, obviously on a date. Mu Zening was surprised and embarrassed when he saw Mu Zi, because he was just scolded by Mu Zi yesterday. Bai Wei didn't know about those twists and turns. Seeing that they had no seats, she politely got up and invited them. It's Zening, if you don't mind, please sit at a table with us. Xiao Jingjia was a little unhappy, feeling that it would be demeaning to sit with someone like Bai Wei. But the waiter said that those empty boxes had already been reserved, and she didn't want to sit in the noisy lobby. Mu Zening thanked him, and walked into the box with Xiao Jingjia and sat down. The weather is fine today, and you all came out so early for morning tea, Bai Wei greeted them kindly. I heard that there is a new cook here, just passing by, so I came in and sat down, Xiao Jingjia replied for Mu Zening, with a faint sense of superiority in her tone. It's rare to go to Jiang's house to talk about things after eating, to have some free time. Bai Wei was just exchanging pleasantries instead of flattering her. She said, is that so, with a slight smile, and ended the conversation. Murong Cheng's expression was indifferent, but secretly, the thorns all over his body stood up.